When me tell him say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now. And when me eat them, I wonder when me yam. When me tell him say that I'm a vegan, man.
I just came home from the Lofoten Islands yesterday by train, and I've been actually going through a lot as you've seen the last few days, but let's go through it all. So basically what has happened in the last few days, we have been walking around, checked boats that has passed by. One time we tried to train on flying in wind, which is something that I necessarily didn't have to do inland, because earlier, if there was wind, I didn't have to fly. I could just wait another day because there's not that much wind inland. But on the Lofoten Islands there's quite a lot of wind, so I actually had to train that up. We have documented the transference of whales, such as people smoking over the meat. We have seen chewing gum over the meat. We have documented that they go to other ports, although they said that we'll only go to this one port this year, but there was actually 5 ports where they delivered whale meat this year. We've got documentation of actually whales being left 2/3 in the water after slaughter, which is also illegal. Other ways, such as having blubber in the harbour, they say different things every single time. One time I heard it was natural confrontation, some others said that it was coming out from the sea and into the harbour. Quite weird that it's actually just in the harbour where they get the blubber. And we also heard that it's not blubber at all, and when we tried to ask, he just asked us another question. We have documented a vessel without its AIS on, which is also illegal, and we have seen them drop meat in thin air, and they are supposed to be professionals. We made it away into the local newspaper, and there's no big secret which side they're on, because we got only 1/6 of the entire newspaper, so the rest of it was for the whalers. This is actually the biggest propaganda newspaper in this entire country. Newspapers are supposed to be neutral, but this doesn't look very neutral at all. However, there was a case that happened after we came into this newspaper. We checked in at the camping site in order to stay over for 2 nights for myself and 3 nights for Michael, and sort of the person owning the place, I think he saw us in the newspaper and he wondered if it was us, so he asked me many questions, and me personally, unable to lie, he kind of got the information out of me, and instead of just being in a disagreement, he actually expelled us from the camping site. We were allowed to stay there overnight, and Michael kind of just stayed in the room until the day after, so it wasn't that much of a deal. But however, I wonder if I'm going to take a case against this person or not. I'm actually going to argue this around with some other people in the vegan communities, and I'm also going to ask the police what I should actually do about this. People may wonder why we go up to the Lofoten Islands to defend whales, and some people say that they have to be caught because they eat up all the fish. And there are many people against whaling, and the 2 most common reasons are not the only ones. One of them being that whaling is a very cruel act, where they actually are staying in the water for at least 2 minutes until they die, and this is actually a common practice. And the other part being that whales may actually be the smartest animals on this planet. And for the last part, this one is not very known for most people, and it is their role in the ecosystem, because they push plankton up into the surface, and that actually makes them have photosynthesis go for an even longer time, and they also feed the planktons with their own feces. And this is actually the process, and therefore if you have more whales, you will have way more fish, and there are not enough whales no matter what species. The last part is about health, and this is not like regular health, because whale meat contains metallic mercury, the blubber contains PCB plastics, and all of this is polluting the ocean, and it actually makes people sick when they eat it. Well, people who eat much fish or people who eat whale, you will often see that many of them have less hair, because it actually tears the hair tissues out, and because of that it's not very healthy. It's actually less healthy than both fish and eggs. But what's up for next year? Well, we want to have at least 16 people, and especially I think we should have more Norwegians going up there, so that they don't think that there's only foreigners coming there and do the job. Well, foreigners are good because we need international attention, but we also need Norwegian volunteers on our campaigns. And that's why I come to you and ask if you want to join this campaign. And unfortunately, we look for volunteers with passion, so there's actually nobody that gets paid for this. However, when you go up there, it's mostly in the holiday season, so it shouldn't actually be too difficult to getting there. And a few things to note is that if you own a camera, that's the best. Video cameras are better than photo cameras. And on campaign, there's also a few things. If you want to go on campaign, you need to be vegan or at least vegetarian. But mostly I will suggest for everyone to be vegan, and there are two very good reasons. First of all, you cannot call yourself an environmentalist and eat animal products. Second, there is another part, and that comes to argumentation. So when people come up to us and say like, well, what do you eat, pigs and chickens and everything, and you can say, no, we don't. And that is actually the so-called best argument used against us as activists. We just remove that totally. Your mental state has to be okay, you need to sign a paper before coming with us. Our main focus would be to document everything, and if you want to be a member, we can give you more information later actually. But has it been a success? And I will say absolutely. They totally freak out with cameras, so if we have enough people to stay at every single whale factory and document every single vessel that comes in, it will totally freak them out, and this will be a huge pressure. And if we can get the media, that's the best thing. So sign on for a campaign for next year, and we will see you soon.